All right, let's tackle one of the biggest, most mind-bending ideas in all of physics. What is time? We're going to unpack what Albert Einstein really meant when he called our experience of time an illusion. And I'm telling you, the reality of it is so much stranger than you can probably imagine.
So this is the quote that gets everyone talking. It's one of Einstein's most famous lines, right? And at first glance, it seems to be saying something completely impossible, that the flow of time, the thing that defines our entire lives, just isn't real. But to really get it, you have to know where it came from.
You see, this legendary line wasn't from some super dense scientific paper or a lecture he gave. Its origin is actually way more personal, and honestly, way more moving.
Einstein wrote these words to comfort the family of his dear friend who had just passed away. He was essentially saying, look, I know it feels like he's gone, but in the grand cosmic scheme that physics describes, he hasn't really gone anywhere. It's a statement about physical reality, but offered as this really profound form of comfort.
Okay, and let's just clear up the biggest misconception right away. Einstein never, ever said time doesn't exist. I mean, come on, he's a physicist. His whole theory is built on time being a real dimension. What he said was an illusion is our human experience of time. You know, that feeling that we're all on this river, flowing from a fixed past into an unknown future. That, he said, is where we've got it all wrong.
So how in the world did Einstein get to this incredibly radical idea? Well, it all starts by attacking something we take for granted every single second of our lives, the idea of a universal now.
Before Einstein, pretty much all of physics ran on Isaac Newton's clock. In Newton's universe, time was this absolute thing. There was, like, a master clock for the whole cosmos that ticked at the same rate for everybody everywhere. Now on Earth was the same now on Mars, was the same now in a galaxy billions of light years away. Then Einstein's special relativity comes along and just completely shatters that whole idea, showing that time is actually relative. How you experience it literally depends on how fast you're moving.
This all comes down to a really wild concept called the relativity of simultaneity. Okay, in plain English, it means that two people, moving at different speeds, can look at the exact same two events and completely disagree on whether they happened at the same time. And here's the kicker. According to physics, they're both right.
I know, that sounds impossible. So let's try a thought experiment to see how it actually works. Imagine a star exploding 50 light-years from Earth. We're going to watch this one event from 3 totally different perspectives to see what it tells us about this thing we call now. First up is Anne. She's right here on Earth. Let's say she's born today. Now, because the light from that explosion has to travel for 50 years to get to us, she won't see it until she's 50 years old. So from her perspective, her 50th birthday and seeing the supernova happen in the same now. Simple enough? But now, let's think about our second observer, Grace. She's in a spaceship halfway between Earth and the supernova. For her, the light only takes 25 years to reach her. At the exact moment she sees that explosion, if she were to point a super powerful telescope back at Earth, she'd be seeing the light from the moment Anne was born. So for Grace, in her now, the supernova and Anne's birth happen at the same time.
And we can take this even further. Let's say our final observer, Elizabeth, is positioned somewhere else in space. From her unique vantage point, the light from the supernova arrives at the very same moment as the light from Anne's death on Earth, maybe at age 90. So for Elizabeth, in her now, the supernova is simultaneous with the end of Anne's life.
Now stop and really think about what this means. We have one single event, the supernova, that is happening at the same time as Anne's birth, her 50th birthday, and her death. So which one is the real now? Well, relativity says there isn't one. All of these moments, past, present, and future from Anne's perspective, are all existing simultaneously in someone else's present moment.
To help visualize this, because it is tricky, let's use another analogy. I want you to imagine the entire history of the universe, all of space and all of time, as one single gigantic loaf of bread.
In this analogy, the entire universe, from the Big Bang all the way to its very end, is the loaf. Now for Newton, everyone's now was the same. It was like a perfectly vertical, straight slice of bread. But what Einstein showed is that your motion through space actually changes your slice of time. If you start moving, your slice of now actually tilts.
And that angled slice, well, that's everything. It means your present moment, your now, is going to cut through that loaf at a different angle than mine. So your slice will contain little bits of what I consider my past and little bits of what I consider my future. My reality and your reality are just different cross-sections of the very same block.
Okay, so if every possible now is just a different slice of this space-time loaf, what does that mean for the loaf itself? Well, it implies that the entire loaf, the past, the present, and the future, has to exist all at once. This leads us straight to a model of reality called the block universe. It's the idea that the past, present, and future are all equally real. Everything that has ever happened and everything that ever will happen is just there. It all exists as a permanent feature of a four-dimensional space-time reality, and our consciousness just happens to be experiencing it one moment at a time.
So this puts our everyday experience, what philosophers call the A theory of time, in a direct collision with the B theory, which is what physics points to. You know, we feel like time flows. We feel like the present is special, and it's the only thing that's real. But relativity suggests a universe where time is just a static dimension, where the flow is an illusion of our minds, and where every single moment is just as real as this one.
So what? What does all this mean? I mean, this isn't just some abstract physics problem. It has really profound, almost spiritual implications for how we view our lives, our choices, and our whole place in the universe.
The takeaways are they're staggering. If the block universe is right, the past isn't lost, and the future isn't some foggy possibility, it's already there. Your entire life, from the moment you're born to the moment you die, is a fixed, permanent path through space-time. And of course, if the future is already set, what does that mean for free will? It's one of the biggest unanswered questions this model throws at us.
Which brings us all the way back to the beginning, back to Einstein and his letter. The comfort he was offering Besso's grieving family came directly from this worldview. He was saying that his friend wasn't gone. His life hadn't vanished into nothing. It simply is. It exists, complete and whole, as a permanent part of the four-dimensional fabric of reality. A finite life, sure, but an eternal existence.
And that's the thought I want to leave you with. If the steady passage of time really is just a stubborn, persistent illusion created by our minds, that raises one last massive question. What exactly are our minds, our consciousness, actually moving through as we experience one moment after the next?